Hello all. Alrighty, so back with another closer look video. And I was gonna cover the very first counter attacker here. So let's cover Rana. Alright, so I don't have her special skill leveled up very high, so if I do level that some more, I will be adding more health, more healing over time, and more damage to the counterattack if I keep going up with that. And I may not. I'm not 100% positive on that because I don't find that I use Rana too much anymore. However, she is an A-rated hero for a lot of different reasons. Now, I got Rana fairly later. Everybody and their mother seemed to have Rana in the beginning, and it was all purple tanks, purple tanks, purple tanks. It was crazy. She was tank. And they did have to actually nerf her a little bit in the beginning because she did a lot of healing, like a huge amount of healing, plus initially, and plus she did healing over time. And it was crazy to try and break through her if she went off. So, of course, when war was introduced, we had all purple tanks everywhere because everybody wanted to use Rana, which was understandable. She was overpowered then, but she's still now an A-rated hero, even with a bit of a nerf to balance her out. So, still a good hero, definitely. So as I say, she's made to be a tank, being a counterattacker, and she has the heal over time for both herself and her two closest allies. Will regenerate as well. And then you get the counterattack, so you need some buff dispelling heroes to counter that once she goes off. And she still makes a pretty wicked tank, especially for field aid wars. And a wicked tank in general still. She is my tank in my alt account and will probably be in that position for quite a while actually. Which is good. I was glad that I got her in my alt account sooner rather than later because she's been able to flex her muscles and be my tank on my defense, my raid defense. So it's pretty cool. Overall, she's great on defense, so of course she's at the top of the score there with a 5 out of 5. She is good for offense too, especially if you maybe take in energy drinks with her and make sure that her special is always set to go off before the enemy hits you. Counterattack can clean them out pretty quick for sure. Now she's not as highly rated on the war machine though, so being a slow charging hero and just doing the counterattacker, it is definitely a bit harder to make that work on a war machine. But again, you could bring energy drinks and make sure her special is always charged up and the counterattack's always on. And then whenever the war machine hits, they're going to hit 3 heroes, obviously, so just make sure she's in the tank or flank position on the war machine attacks too. And yeah, you'll get that damage from all 3 every time, so that's pretty decent too. Yeah, but slow charging and war machines don't really combine well. You definitely want the quickest hitters you can there, but you can artificially boost that with the energy drinks for sure. So, alright, let's look at her talent class. And she is a spy. Boy, I couldn't tell by that outfit that she'd be a spy. Alright, 3% chance to reduce the charge of an enemy. Hey, that is handy. The scramble. For sure that is handy. So, I would think she doesn't hit the enemy though and deal damage, so I think that would kick in maybe after they hit her with the counterattack, because I know I have emblems in my alt account on Roshan just because it was so weak and red, and he'll snipe somebody with his special, and then all of a sudden I will see the scramble go off, and then their charge drains a bit. So I can't say I've noticed that too much with Rana. I have to pay attention to that now just to see. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15% scramble. Oh, and for spies, the speed bonus is way down here at the very end. All the way down to 20. Nodule 20. Interesting. Okay, so she is a defensive hero, though. She's not a sniper. She's not an AoE hitter. She's not an attacker of any kind, except you do get the bonus of having the counterattack within her special. But she is a defensive hero, so I would definitely go down this route if I were to put emblems on her. You definitely want defense and health. Prop her up as much as you can. And she's got decent stats across the board for attack, health, and defense already, but prop her up even more. Add the health points in. So I might go defense and attack there. And then, so this critical bonus, it increases the chance for critical strikes that do damage. That's not as effective on a defensive hero either as it would be for a sniper. So I would still likely do this. Increase how much she heals from her special skill when it goes off. So increase that by 2%. Yeah, so defensive heroes, I personally always go the most defensive path I can. That's going to boost up keeping them alive longer, because they stay alive longer, they keep their teammates alive longer. So that's personally how I would go down the grid and take as much health and defense as I could, for sure, with me along the way. Alright, so that's a bit of a look at her talents there. Alright, so let's go through some weapons. Let's go to the master weapons first. Oh, I suppose I better empty out my watchtower there. Okay, so this is definitely a good one with that bullet resistance, so 30 armor per turn. Make a defensive hero even more defensive. Sweet combination there. Alright, so the buffalo, I don't know that this would be handy for her, because I have a couple buffaloes and I don't bother using them on, like I use Coyote a lot for healing, and I don't put this weapon on him. I put it on one of the strikers. So I don't know that that's too effective for a defensive hero like her. Same with this one, doing the burn damage. She's a defensive hero, so I think there's better weapons options than that. And then you got the pulsar. Alright. Wouldn't mind a copy of this weapon either. But it is venom ammo, so maybe not so effective for Rana. Okay, let's look for the other purple 5 stars. I do have a copy of the bulldozer, but I don't have a copy of this one. Oh, that's a good combination. Okay, so critical chance, 1 on offense, and add the extra health for defense. Not bad. 160 extra health points for defense. I'm down for that. Now if I could only draw one. Alright, the Anaconda, I think I got rid of. This is one of the ones I get rid of, and that's just armor damage, so. And the bulldozer I have copies of. Okay, so I think I have copies of everything else in my roster now. So let's just pop back down into there. cover the ones we haven't yet. Alright, so bulldozer, armor damage, and dodge. Dodge is handy for defense, that's for sure. If you ever as tank and you've got this dodge weapon, by all means put it on her. That 18% is huge. That is a big perk for that one. If you don't have that one, this one will definitely do. Defensive weapon, having the health bonus there. Alright, so offensive weapon for sure. So if you are taking her against a war machine, you could definitely equip her with this if you wanted to. The 16% tile damage. I have 2 of them. I make sure both of these Vipers are put on the purples when I go against a yellow war machine. Alright, and the Enforcer, that's just armor. And then the Sentry, though, is health. So if you've got the Sentry and she's on your defense, the health points will definitely help her out for sure. Absolutely. Alright, so I don't have a war machine flag right now. But let's put our war machine team up. So let's include Rana, even though I don't use her, but just to show some combinations that you could probably do. Where's Lindsay? And then maybe Coyote. Okay. So it automatically filled in the buffalo for her. Well, I definitely swap that with that. If I were to take her in on the war machine, I would definitely want the dodge weapon on her. And now Talon's minions hit everyone. And then I would also get the bleed from the buffalo. So Talon's minions poison, and then you get the bleed on every one of them too from the buffalo. So that's a wicked combination. And then same with Lindsay being a 4-star too. I would definitely want a health weapon on her. And then I've got the other buffalo for the bleed damage on Umbra, which will stack with the bleed damage from when Talon's minions hit. And then I got critical chance with Mr. Coyote here. So it is possible to make a pretty wicked war machine team with the counterattacker, and then I would definitely make sure energy drinks are here in my combat items to take in, and then I would just make sure that that counterattack stays on all the time. I know people swear by the counterattackers and really love them, and they definitely do have their perks, and she is a solid hero all around and definitely worth leveling. So I will be using her in my alt account for quite a long time to come. And I'm sure I would have used her quite a bit in this account had I drawn her sooner. But it was like pulling teeth trying to get her. But then every single war, there we would be fighting Rana. She's part of the reason why I ended up leveling 3 Akos actually to get through that counterattack of seeing a sea of Rana tanks every single time we did war. So yes, definitely a handy hero. Definitely a lot of combinations you can make with her. And yeah, she does her job very well being in a tank or a flank position. So she is worthy of that A rating, that's for sure. Okay guys, that's it for a look at Rana. Hey guys, I just thought I should add onto the Rana breakdown a little bit that there aren't too many purple speed weapons. However, at 36 being slow, she needs to get to 43 to be in the average. So this has 6 speed points on it, so it actually won't put her into the average category, and it won't shave a tile off. So that is a bit of a drawback, having a slower hero too. I don't think there's... I think there's one other purple speed weapon. Speed doesn't seem to be a thing among too many of the purple weapons or the green weapons. So if you have slow heroes in those colors, they're likely gonna stay slow. You can't really speed them up when there's no weapons options to let you do that. I'm almost positive there is one more. It's the ink explosion. Ah, see, and I didn't cover that earlier. That was my bad. The ink explosion is the other purple speed weapon. Okay, so this is 9. And that would put her at 45. So this would shave a tile off of her charging. So that's pretty cool. Alright, I didn't even realize until after I ended the video. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I didn't cover those 2 points. So I thought I would just add that in at the end here. Alright, that was my bad. Jeez, I'm a terrible teacher sometimes. Alright, take care, everyone.